What's up, y'all? Welcome to episode 12 of the Hustle and Harmony podcast. I'm Emily.
I'm Julia.
And today we are going to be talking about how to find confidence as a woman. I am so excited about this one.
It's incredibly important. And I've realized that there were a lot of things that we did as kids that helped us gain this confidence that we didn't even realize we were doing. Obviously, shout out to the parents, our Cole team parents, like they knew what they were doing. But knowing now that it's intentionality that makes you feel confident in so many different ways has made me start to think about it on the front end instead of just like accepting that it happened or didn't happen on the back end.
What are the first things that come to your mind when you think of that?
Well, childhood-wise, one of the biggest things that I remember helping with confidence is figuring out kind of your body type, your skill sets, whatever the things are that you are the best at or that are inherent to you and unique to you, figure out environments and groups of people that celebrate that thing. And for us, one of the biggest standouts that could be negative or positive for different people and their viewpoints is being a woman that's very tall. And we grew up playing sports where your height was celebrated. We were constantly making plays that were easier to make because we had the extra inches on us. I remember a conversation I had with a venue promoter. He's amazing. His name's Nathan Queens in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I remember him pulling me aside one time, and he's like 6'8", and his wife is 6'2" or something like that. And they had a daughter. And he pulled me aside one time at a show, and I just remember him being like, "You're so confident and you're a tall woman. How do I help my daughter not feel embarrassed to be a tall woman?"
Yeah.
And I wanted to cry, one, because he saw me that way. It made me feel so good about myself, and it made me feel like, okay, whatever I say right here is so crucial and important to really helping another person's life. And I was excited that I had an answer. I was like, I think the main thing that I felt comfortable with my height in was athletics. And for some people, maybe they're not athletic. Maybe it's modeling, or maybe there's a million different places where you can find out a way to focus your unique body build, body type, personality, whatever your thing is, and make it your strength, and to focus on that. So with him, I was like, if you can just test out a bunch of different sports, test out, maybe it's modeling or whatever those different avenues are. And there's still other things that I never even tried. Like, I think being a rower, a swimmer is really good if you're tall. I never even did those things.
Yeah.
But I'm confident that the girls who were on my team that were even way taller than me, they felt like they weren't alone. They felt a community of people who, one, understand what they go through every time they go to the grocery store, and some short man looks at them and won't stop talking about it. It's just super annoying. And I mean, it's also, if you're a woman and you're tall and a man ever says, "How tall are you?" I think it is a totally appropriate response to ask him after you say how tall you are, "How short are you?" I think it's an appropriate response. If he's shorter than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how short are you? I'd love to know your height. Like, they don't realize what they're saying when they say it oftentimes. But anyway, that's
Well, they don't mean it in a lot of people don't mean it in a nice way either.
It's their own, usually it's someone's own inferiority complex.
It says more about them than you, for sure.
But I noticed there were girls on my team that were 6'1", 6'2", and I played tournaments where the tallest girl I ever met she was 6'8", and she was like 13 or 14 or something like that. She was very young, and she obviously was the talk of the entire volleyball tournament of 1,000 people because of her height. But in that arena, it was celebrated. It was like, oh my God, she's got such a leg up on all of us. You know, she can block, she can hit, she's such an asset that you can't buy and you can't train. And this arena of people is where she thrives. Yeah. And I remember, just find your area.
One of the quotes from our club basketball coach growing up, Coach Cullinan, was, "You can't teach tall."
You can't teach tall. Yeah. And in some worlds, it's a negative. And that's why we're not trying to become Olympic gymnasts.
Because we're so long.
That's like, you just have to find where you're supposed to be with your skill sets. And I think maybe some people can't relate to the tall thing or the athleticism thing, but a different example might be if you have a loud personality. If you've always been loud, you'll always be loud. You're talkative. You don't know how to turn it off. My mommy would always, you got a 100-watt mouth, whatever. There are avenues where that is celebrated. Mm-hmm. You're going to be the host of a TV show, or you're going to be someone who brings out energy from other people when you need to create energy. That's a skill set.
Valued skill in that environment.
Right.
Yeah.
But yes, you're going to get in trouble in school because your teacher's going to be like, talking, literally shut up. Like, I am trying to teach a lesson right now. So that's one I would say is find your environment and find your people who are going to celebrate what's unique about you.
Yeah. I think that leads in well too to the whole topic of just how as women, a lot of society has based our worth off of our looks and beauty. And it's been really, really cool to see the emergence of women's sports recently because women's sports is something that is so, so important to help young girls build this confidence and build that confidence, no makeup on, hair's tied back, you're gross and sweaty, but you're being a baller, you know, and you're working hard to earn something, and you get to have this self-worth come from things that might not have been something that were society's ideal of pretty, or, you know, how you dress or how good your makeup is that day.
Yeah.
And it's just this whole other avenue of camaraderie. And it's been so cool to have it be such a big part of our upbringing, and then realize how beneficial that was for us going into the real world once, you know, I haven't stopped sports yet, but like once we stop sports, being able to carry that confidence with you.
And having people see value in you for things other than your looks. And a lot of girls who only grow up in something that might be pageant-like, or even a sport like cheerleading or something like that, where a lot of it does have to do with how well was your hair done, what does your makeup look like, what's your outfit, you know, aesthetic proof, versus what we grew up competing in. It wasn't just athletics. We competed in, you know, writing competitions. Like we did a lot of academic competitions. Remember math bowls? And
I did academic decathlon in high school.
We had a lot of value instilled in our childhood in things that had nothing to do with our looks. I do think that there is something cool happening with women's sports today, though, that doesn't alienate people who want to feel pretty and want to feel beautiful. Because I remember getting frustrated when people associated women's athletics with being butchy. And I'm like, first of all, that's none of your business what someone wants to do with their style or their life. But I'm just a little frustrated that you're not even giving us the benefit of the doubt that we could be stylish and be an athlete.
Yeah, it was almost like if you were super stylish, you weren't taking it seriously enough. Or you weren't, I don't know. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But that's gone now. Women athletes are allowed to be super stylish if they want to be.
Yeah.
It's just like a choice now, and it's cool because it's not mutually exclusive anymore. Like, you're either the athlete or you're pretty or you're girly or fashionable. You're allowed to just like enjoy all of the benefits of both together.
It's like embrace your femininity and your athleticism.
Yeah. You can be a mom and be an athlete. You can be a wife or a girlfriend or an influencer or whatever.
Yeah, it's a really, really cool era to be a part of.
Shoot threes.
Yeah.
And like
absolutely
slay the steeplechase or whatever it is.
Run a really fast mile.
Right. Other confidence things we talked about a little bit on the last episode, but it's the comfortability of what you're wearing, and it isn't just the outfit, but your makeup, your hair. So if I'm going to be doing a show that I know the wind is going to be blowing a lot, it's like, if I just put my hair back in a headband or in a ponytail, then I'm not constantly like, what if in the middle of my song, my hair flies in my mouth, which obviously has happened to me before. I wouldn't be talking about this PTSD. And it's like, you're like choking on something while you're trying to perform a song. Figuring out ways to eliminate little things that can go wrong for your performance to be better, make me more confident in my performance. And I think you can describe work however you want, but it can be a performance, even if it's in the office and you need to execute your plan, and you know that one of the things that's going to make you more confident is feeling beautiful at work, or is one of the things that's going to make you more confident wearing something that's super dressed down because you don't want anyone looking at you. Like there's a million different directions to go with it, but figure out what's your actual goal for your attire for the day and dress in a way that's going to help you accomplish your goals, attention wise and comfortability wise.
Yeah, I think in the same vein of like whatever your environment is, it's so crazy how much of a difference the people you're around makes on your confidence as well.
Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with other women who are confident in their style, they, pride themselves on looking great, but also working really, really hard and being well respected in whatever their craft is. And also being kind. They aren't looking down on other people because they are that way. It's hard to find people that are like that, but when you do and you can just be around them, it's such a positive influence on you. You're an average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
We're the same brain. The exact time you said that, it was literally playing in my head.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
It's such a classic quote, and it's just so good. And it just, especially in this scenario, having people around you that aren't afraid to be confident, stand shoulders back, chin up. And the way that you hold yourself is contagious. And surrounding yourself with other people that are that way will help you be able to feel more confident and do whatever your job is better and just live a happier life overall because you're feeling more content in everything you're doing. And it's so cool how you get to make those decisions. Obviously there are some people, if you're growing up in a household and you don't get to actually leave yet or whatever, but once you do get to make those decisions of who you surround yourself with, that's something that you can take full responsibility for. And if you realize that the people that you're surrounding yourself with don't make you feel confident and are bringing you down, you can leave. And
if it doesn't make you feel good, don't do it. If they don't make you feel good, don't be around them.
This has been a quote of us for the past week.
This has been a Bailey Bodden quote. We're going to give her full credit on this one. She was just like, look, something can be right or wrong for someone else, but if it doesn't make me feel good, I don't want to be around it. And
we were talking about going on dates too.
Yeah.
And just being like, you don't even have to have an explanation. If you are on a date and it doesn't feel good,
it just didn't make you feel good.
It doesn't make me feel good. I'm sorry. Like, I have to go.
A hot take, too, on the confidence topic. I really believe that showing kindness is showing confidence.
Absolutely.
And it shows, at least from my own point of view, that one, you're not always thinking about yourself because you're not constantly worried about yourself. I think that is obviously confidence. But if you're out here willing to raise other people up and praise them for what they're doing, whether you think their outfit's cute or you think they did an amazing job on the speech that they just had, or they picked the cutest outfit out for their babies and you're like, you have so much style, or their living room is just gorgeous. And it's like, how did you do this? Like, you're so good at interior design. Yeah. I think that confidence of complimenting other people and lifting other people up is also showing that you're not trying to step on others to raise yourself higher. And it's one of the traits I've seen the most in the people who aren't confident in my life. I've seen them be so mean to whoever's around them. And I can tell subconsciously it's them trying to justify in their head why they're okay or why they're better. And it's usually on accident. Like, they're usually not trying to be mean. But it's an actual constant competition between anyone they're looking at or anything they're doing between their life and this other person's life, when it's just truly irrelevant. Like, someone else's financial status should have nothing to do with your life. Someone else's fashion, their relationship, all of those different things, unless they treat you well or treat you poorly and it's affecting your emotions because of how they treat you, that's totally different. But if you're just judging their success on whatever aspect of life it is, it really shouldn't impact your own view of yourself.
Yeah, and it's more a reflection of you.
It is. It's all like the way you treat other people lasts, the feeling that you give them lasts forever. And you'll feel better about yourself too if you walk away from a conversation and you're just like, that person I know is going to feel really proud of themselves today because they just got propped up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And I've walked away from conversations before, like, we're not perfect. There have been times where I've gone into conversations. Obviously, it happens a lot with your siblings too. Someone who you're comfortable letting your guard down and just being like, ugh, this is how I feel today. There have been so many times where we had a conversation about something. I'm like, I should have said that in such a different way. And I should have been so much nicer about some other thing.
Yeah.
And it's because I was having a bad day. It had nothing to do with you. And having an intentionality about being kind to other people helps my confidence.
Well, it's also a big transition too when you've spent a long time alone, like living alone for 5 years, or me being at college for 5 years. And I've had roommates, so that's different. But when you are living around other people, you have to be so much more considerate and understanding. And it can be crazy when you get out of that routine to then be reintroduced with living with other people and just realize how much energy it takes, but in a good way.
Yeah.
It like helps you be more aware and just, life's not always all about you all the time. And it's so much more fun to live life that way.
In fact, in everyone else's story, you're a side character.
Yeah. So why not live life like you're the side character?
Like sometimes it is like freeing to do that.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the coolest things was in elementary school, the golden rule was people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
So true.
And it's just what you were just talking about, just making sure that you are always treating people with kindness, and you're always going to be going through things. People around you are always going to be going through things, and you can never know what everyone else around you is going through. So that's something that can just benefit your life and their life overall, and kindness is free. There are so many things that bring you happiness in life that cost money, and that's one of the best ones, and it's free. So why not just tell someone their hair looks great, or tell someone that, you hope that they have a great day when you're walking by, and just give them a little sparkle in their day, because you never know how it'll affect the rest of their week.
I used to get nervous about giving compliments because occasionally you'll have somebody look at you weird, like, why are you talking to me? And like when that happens, it makes you a lot more hesitant.
Yeah.
And then I just decided I'm not going to, that's a reflection of them, not a reflection of me.
Yeah.
I'm going to still give the compliments out. If I think it, I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
So if I pass a girl and she has the cutest purse, like I don't know her from Adam, I will walk up and just be like, your purse is so cute and your outfit is amazing today.
I love that.
Bye. And I'm just like, I'm never going to see this person again, maybe, like, but whatever. Whether she thought that was weird or not, I don't care. I'm just going to say it.
It's crazy the culture differences, like in the North versus South.
True.
Being from Texas, going to schools where there are a lot of kids from the North, and you're walking on the sidewalk, good morning, how are you doing? And these people from the North are like, what is
Why
this
are you
girl?
talking to me?
Why is she talking to me? Especially being on runs too. Oh my gosh. I remember just running past
you. Would scare.
Hi.
I know exactly
Hello.
what you're talking about. One time I went on a run with you though, and I remember you scared somebody because we were running by and we're going relatively fast if they're walking and we're running, and you go, good morning.
Okay.
We
I
kept
didn't
going. No, it was super cute.
yeah,
though.
I've made a couple people jump. Yeah, unfortunately.
A different confidence thing that I have learned, and you and I have talked a lot about this with our social media intentionality, has been diversification of how you identify who you are, not just being one thing, and not finding all your value and all your worth in one thing that can be judged by everybody else, and or maybe isn't judged by everyone else, but like for the most part, I'm thinking of people use their work as their identity often. So for me, it's what do you do, or who are you? It's I'm a country singer, I live in Nashville, I'm from Texas, I play piano, I play guitar, I write songs, I tour the world. If that's the only part of my basis of who I am, then my value is going to come strictly from me being validated on that being justified. So what are my streams looking like? How many people bought tickets to my shows? When I walk down the street at a country music festival, am I getting stopped? Or it's those kind of things that they're like showing you, even if it's something really beautiful, how many messages did I get this month about my music helping somebody through something, or changing someone's life, or getting them through a breakup, losing a parent, whatever that thing is. Then I'm looking for that number. I'm looking for those messages. And if I don't get them for a month, or I don't have more followers, I'm like, oh my gosh, nobody likes it anymore. Or I'm not maybe this thing, I'm not as good at it as someone else. Anyway, diversify where you're finding your value.
Yeah.
Because if I only looked at that, my highs would be so high, my lows would be so low, and I would be a wreck. So I've tried to be like, what are the parts of Julia that Julia actually loves? I'm really proud of my connection with my family. I hold a lot of value in the time that I've put in and the effort that I've put in to spend time with my family, not just my immediate family, my extended family. Mm-hmm. And I find so much pride and value in accomplishing those little things, to where no matter what happens this week, I'm like, I went out on my way to go see all my cousins. I saw all my grandparents. I got to hug them. I got to learn about their lives. I got to reconnect with my roots and reconnect with their roots and their kids, and just fully dive into this piece of life that I find so much importance in.
And we're very lucky to have.
And we're so lucky to have. And everyone can find what's that different thing for you, because another one of them for me is education. I really feel so much better about myself when I feel smart. Mm-hmm. And that's because of what we were taught growing up. You know, some people's value really does come from maybe they didn't have any money growing up, and we didn't have a ton of money. Like, our parents were middle class, but it's one of those, like, if you grew up with nothing, you might find a lot of your validation and a lot of your value in how much money did I make. And I'm not saying that's bad. It's like all of these different things can be built on what's your value in life, but having it be spread across a multitude of different areas helps your confidence, because when one dips low, one of the other ones might be going high, mm-hmm. and you can balance it. Yeah. And I think it's hard to do, but really worth it.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I've dove more into my faith over the past 6 months too, because it just really emphasizes finding God's purpose for you.
So true.
And figuring out what your values are, mm-hmm. and standing by them and not being afraid to share them and stand by them, even if it's going to get you mocked or it's not what everyone else is doing, and makes you feel more confident in mm-hmm. that too. And I've loved getting to learn more and dive more into that. I'm not by any means, haven't read the whole Bible, like, the most well-versed Christian there is, but I'm working my way to learn more about everything. And it's just been really cool to dive into that community and to meet all of these people from so many different walks of life that are really confident. Mm-hmm. And it's because they're finding their worth through Christ.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful.
They're like, look, I might have failed at my job today. This year might have been really hard for me, but God loves me and he created me in his image. Yeah. And I deserve to be here, and I bring value to the earth, and I'm going to love others as hard as I can and be grateful for every day that I'm alive. And it's just this perspective on life that's so beautiful, and I just love being a part of it. And I think that, in the whole debate of whether there's a God or not, it's just, I can't imagine life not believing, because it's such a wonderful life to live the life with Christ. I don't know. I've loved getting to learn more about it, and I'm grateful that we were raised religious as well.
It's a beautiful community also,
yeah.
which does go back into you are the culmination of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Yeah.
If you're with people who are putting their value in something other than their own ego and their own ability to be better than everyone else, mm-hmm. you're probably going to be surrounding yourself with people who want to see you have success, and they want to cheer you on, and they want to help you. And there's so many conversations that can happen that change your life, that it really doesn't even have to do with what a person does, but if they can help you think in a certain way because of the conversations you're having. Like, even when we went to church this past Sunday, listening to the sermon, and he's talking about his drummer was supposed to be meeting him at a venue where they were performing, and the drummer had all the gear. They couldn't set up anything till he got there. He was trying to give his drummer directions to where this venue was on this specific mountain. And the drummer was like, I'm following your directions perfectly, and I am still not at the venue. I don't know what's going on here. Long story short, they find out an hour later, he's been trying to do these directions on a completely different mountain. He's been on the wrong mountain.
Such a good story.
It's crazy because the way that he flipped it was, how many times have you thought about where you are in life and you're trying to do everything to get to your goal, but you just cannot get there and you cannot find where you're going? Maybe you're on the wrong mountain, and maybe it's going to take extra work to backtrack your steps and go all the way down the mountain and find the right mountain and go up. But it's worth putting the time in, because if you keep trying to follow the directions on the wrong mountain, you're never going to get where you want to go. And his entire explanation was about building everything that you do around Christ.
Yeah.
But it also can be stripped down to, what if you went into the wrong career field?
Yeah.
What if you're trying everything to find your happiness as a lawyer, but you'd rather be a marine biologist? Like, I have a friend she literally went through her entire major in college, majored in cinematography, and then decided at the end of the 4 years that she wanted to go into marine biology.
Wow.
And just started completely over.
That is such
Isn't that
a
so
big
dramatic?
shift.
But
Yeah.
that's why I thought of that example, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I know someone who's done that.
Yeah.
And why not? It's only 4 years. At the grand scheme of time, it's like, if you're going to have the rest of your life going towards something that you're more excited about,
Yeah.
and that you're going to find more confidence in and more value in yourself in, retrace your steps, backtrack, put the time in, put the effort in. It's worth it.
Well, and what's so cool too is the quote we talked about earlier, leaning into what makes you unique. Like, I'm sure all of her skills in cinematography are going to benefit her
So true.
in her marine biology career. She's going to become this really badass marine biologist, and then she'll be able to document that journey like nobody else.
It's so true.
And so never shy away from retracing your steps and having a new path. And don't feel bad about doing that, because you'll be able to use all the lessons and skills that you learned in ways that you could never imagine in your new path. And I think
Everything's tied in.
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason. And follow your gut. If you just know in your core that where you are right now is not where you're meant to be,
yeah.
don't be afraid to take steps away from it. Because I think one of the other biggest pieces of confidence is being willing to trust yourself when something doesn't feel right,
The gut feeling.
and make the steps, even if it's hard, even if it's easier to stay, make the decision to go.
Yeah.
That is confidence. It's believing that you're going to be okay because you believe in yourself,
Yeah.
and you believe in your ability to build around the new ideas you have, the new world you have. Maybe you're leaving a bad relationship. Maybe you're leaving a boss who just treats you terribly, or it's a town that you just feel like you can't grow in. Whatever that thing is, if it doesn't make you feel like you're building on all of your potential, I think it takes an incredible amount of strength to realize you are strong enough to make the change, take the plunge, and bet on you.
I love that.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, whenever you were in high school and you left to go to college, were you confident going into this world of all new people and all new things? Or was it a time of fear for you and you had to figure out a way to start feeling comfortable?
I think anyone going into a brand new environment, it can be hard to kind of find your place at first. And obviously, we've spoken about imposter syndrome several times, especially going into a world of athletics, being someone that was very late to the running world. I think I felt that I had to prove myself a lot for the majority of my time while I was there, probably until my last year at Duke. I felt like I was having to prove myself. And there's value in that too, like incentivizing you to work hard as well, but learning how to enjoy it all along the way is important. And I think that finding confidence was hard when I didn't know my place in that environment. And I went to Duke for a semester, and then we got sent home for COVID. So just as I was starting to make friends and figure out what I was doing, they're like, get out of here.
Bye.
And then I took a gap semester the next semester, and then I came back and I still hadn't decided my major. So I think it really took me a long time to find my confidence there and figure out who I wanted to be. And it just goes to show that it's not an easy journey, and it's not something that's just going to happen overnight. But when you put the work in to figuring out what that looks like for you, it will pay off in multitudes over time.
I have 2 tips too on ways to actually put the work in.
Okay.
One thing I would say is I need to get back on this. I did this for years, and I think my traveling made me kind of stop doing it as well and as efficiently, but I created like a daily checklist for myself.
Oh, the habit tracker.
It was a habit tracker to an extent, but it also had, so mine was unique. It was a piece of paper. I drew all of it up. It wasn't a journal that someone sold me. These were just things that I found value in that I wanted to look at every day.
Cool.
So I had a checklist of tasks for the day, and those tasks could be make your bed, brush your teeth, read your, affirmations poem, read your goals list. And I'm trying to remember something that was actually done like daily. Again, this whole checklist was there for a reason, because it made me really be intentional about the things I was doing every single day. Oh, my mile was another one on there.
Habits stack up.
Those habits stack up, but on the same piece of paper, I had in the top left corner, I had it was a gratitude poem, not an affirmation poem, which the affirmation thing was just something you read last night to me. And that's why it was on my brain, because I want to name that one too. But the gratitude poem was a list of things that I just wanted to say what I'm thankful for every single day. And it was, I'm thankful for God. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my health. And then I would kind of cycle that one back. Or I'd be like, I'm thankful for my friends, my best friends. And I actually name my best friends like in it. I love it. And then I would go back. The more specific
you are, the better.
Yeah. And then I would go back on the health one and be like, I'm thankful for my family's health. I'm thankful for my friend's health. And I would of go down that list. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't super long, so I could kind of get through it really quickly. But it started every day with just a confidence in my community, because I name those people that I love, a confidence in my, faith to be in God's hands. So it's not really all on me, and you're able to let go of a little bit of your stress that day, because you're like, what's meant to happen is going to happen. Yeah. And a positive mindset just kind of sets you up for success. And then the goals side was on the right upper corner. And I'm not talking about your daily tasks. I'm talking about big goals that you can cross off once you reach them, but things that are attainable. So you are crossing some of these things off. Some of them might be on there for a long time. Like I'm going to have, get a #1 song at Billboard and Mediabase up there until I get a #1 song at Billboard and Mediabase. Yeah. But when I passed 100,000 followers on Instagram, I got to cross that off. Mm-hmm. When I passed 100 million streams across platforms, I got to cross that off. Like that was so cool.
So big.
And when you have a thing you can look at and you physically see, I accomplished those things that were a part of my goals list, that helps your confidence every single day.
And whenever you wrote it down, it seemed far off.
It did.
And then you get to cross it off and you're like, whoa, mm-hmm. I'm here.
And your goals list could be I want to lose 20 pounds. Mm-hmm. But put something on there that you're going to be pumped when you get to cross it off.
And that you look at every day.
It reminds you to focus on it.
Writing down your goals forces you to figure out what they are, mm-hmm. and makes you so much more likely to achieve them.
And that helps you with your direction. I've found a lot of times that having a clear idea of what I need to accomplish and what I need to do adds to my confidence in those things, because I know I'm going to put the time into it instead of spreading myself thin across doing a ton of things in a halfway motivated fashion. And then I loved your affirmations. So talk about the affirmations that you read last night.
So affirmations are definitely becoming more popular right now, mm-hmm. with awareness around mental health and choosing positive mindsets. And there were a lot of different Olympians that came out and shared how they spoke to themselves before winning their gold medal. And I loved, Gabby Thomas said that she journaled like every single day, I will be an Olympic gold medalist. And
wow.
Like the day before, she's like, I will be an Olympic gold medalist tomorrow. And then Tara Davis Woodhull, I think she competed on August 8th, 8:08. And so every day at 8:08, she would say, I will win an Olympic gold medal. I will win an Olympic gold medal. And
I have like chills.
Yeah, I loved it because I've tried doing affirmations before where I put I am something, and it didn't feel right because I'm not currently.
Well, but what if it was I am smart.
Yeah. That's
I am loved.
a different thing. But I'm talking about things that I'm not yet.
Oh,
And
okay.
so like saying I am smart, I am beautiful, I am kind, I am deserving of love. Those are amazing I am affirmations. But things that you haven't accomplished yet that you want to be, I just was still trying to say those also as I am, as like a manifestation thing. And it didn't sit right because I'm not yet.
Yeah.
And just changing it, it's the simplest thing.
I
But
will.
seeing these Olympians have I will be, and just choosing that positive outcome to be what they create in their brain over and over and over again every day. It was so cool. So anyways, what I did last night was I chose like 4 different ones and I wrote each one down 3 times. So I wrote, I will be a professional athlete. I will run pain-free by X date. I will whatever. And you can choose whatever you want them to be to help you accomplish your goals. But yeah, that was actually the first time that I had done it in that way and I really liked it.
You talked about journaling here too. And all these things, they sound similar, but they're handled in a very different time of your day and mindset when you're doing them. My morning checklist with the goals and the gratitude poem, it's kind of meant to be mindless. Like it's meant to, like, you do this every day and you are intentional about it, but you don't have to think really hard because it's written down and you're just doing it and reading it. Like it's a simple thing. But the journaling process, the reason I love that and I think it's really beneficial to long-term confidence and growth is being able to go back and read an entry and hear how you thought or hear how you sounded. Yeah. It can help with your confidence in 2 different directions. If you're feeling down and you're feeling low right now, reading something from a year ago when you were on top of the world and hearing the way you talked about yourself and feel about things in your life can make you realize I'm still that person. I'm still that girl. But on the other side of things, if you're up really high and then you go back and you read a diary entry where you were really low and you were really sad, it's like, oh my God, I came out of that. Yeah. I made it out of that rut that I never thought I was going to get through. Hallelujah. So the journaling documentation, you write a lot more kind of thoroughly in your journals than I do. I have the only one I've been doing consistently has been my 1 line a day, and it's really 5 lines, but I'm so excited to go back to these dates next year and be able to look back at all of the things I was doing, whether I was excited about them, happy or sad about them. Maybe I'll be in a relationship by then and I'm looking back at these dates I'm going on. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. But it'll be so fun to look back on the growth. And I think I need to find this one on Amazon and put a link to it for everyone on here, because it's literally called 1 line a day. If you type that in, you're gonna find this little journal. It's super cute, but that's been fun to, when I'm writing things down, I'm kind of thinking about what do I want to read next year, and it's a different goal than just like how am I feeling today. It's like what do I want to remember about who I am right now and the feelings I'm having that I want to look back on and either have grown from or remember that I could be her again.
Yeah. Okay, so in going into the book club and Q&A section, I think that could just be your book for the week.
The 1 line a day. So this is a journal that you can document everything. And I've talked about it before, but we haven't actually put it on our Amazon book list for y'all to easily find on our page. So that's mine for today. I hope it helps you capture your favorite memories and remember all of the things you've grown from and accomplished when you read the same day every year for 5 years. You're going to be able to look at my 2024, September 1st post, 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028. Imagine being in 2028 and reading your one from 2024. Cool. It's going to be so fun.
And you're such a different person.
What's your book for this week?
So mine is going to be The 4-Hour Workweek, which we've both read in the past.
By Tim Ferriss.
And I think it goes so well with the theme of this episode too, because it helps you figure out what those 5-year, 10-year goals are for yourself and the importance of taking the time to figure out what those are, and also the value of your time. So if there are little tasks that you can pass off. We've talked about it before in the podcast, but it hasn't been a book yet. So I definitely would recommend that one. It changed how I view everything, honestly. And I'm excited for all of y'all to get to read it.
That book is really great for an episode about confidence too, because the whole point of the 4-hour work week, at least from me being a couple years out from reading it and just thinking back on it, it's not being afraid to prioritize the things that matter to you in life and not what everyone else thinks is important. And it really does a good job of breaking down if your biggest goals are the yacht, the Rolex, the house in Greenwich, whatever those, if that's part of your goals, then here are directions you should go for that. If your goals are seeing the world, this is what you can do. It doesn't have to be done in an expensive way, but it's the entire book talks about what's going to make you feel the best. And you need to believe in yourself that your feelings are valid. The things that you believe are important they can be important for you. Even if it's just, I want to fish all day long.
Yeah.
That's what I want my life to be.
Yeah.
It's okay that you don't want a Rolex. Like, that's fine. And that Tim Ferriss does an amazing job of making it accessible to everyone, and making the main point of it being, be confident in what you want and then learn how to prioritize it.
Yeah. Okay, let's do Q&A. I want to pull this bad boy up.
Episode 12, Q&A.
Okay, your question for the day, Julia, is, are your parents athletic and or musically talented?
Yes, my parents are both. They are the best. My parents both did athletics their entire childhoods. And obviously our dad went on to play, I guess it's not obvious to y'all, but I've talked about it early on episodes. Our dad played baseball at UL, Raging Cajuns in Louisiana, in Lafayette. And my mom, she did sports her entire life growing up. She did running, she did track, she played basketball, and she also was very involved in our sports career.
Yeah.
So our parents were very athletic. And on the music side of things, 100%, they are both very musical. And I didn't realize how musical our dad was too.
Yeah.
Because it started out where our mom, she took piano lessons growing up. Her mom made her, and it was more for an educational brain development. It was like music theory, and the processing of playing piano was supposed to be really great for children's development. So that's why her mom had her do lessons. And then she in turn had us do lessons with, shout out Miss Felicia. She taught us how to play so many beautiful, pieces that we got to do Christmas songs, and we competed in piano recitals and just did all these amazing things with piano. But we didn't do it because we wanted to be in the music world. I got into the music world long after I had quit playing.
Well, you fought mom on the piano lessons.
I did.
You were like, I don't want to do this anymore.
But my mom was very musical, and she actually is the one who taught me how to play by ear. So there's one style of music where you just read the notes on the page, and you have basically different signs and symbols that tell you when to be louder, when to, play faster, and when to be staccato. Like there's a million different directions on there. But when you play by ear, I remember watching my mom. She just would hear a song and she'd be like, and she'd find something and she'd be like, okay, I think it goes like this, and then goes from the 1 to the 4, and she just starts to kind of mess around on the piano that way. And I was like, I want to be able to do that. That's so cool. So I really did learn so much about music from my mom. And then my dad's musical connection, he's just loved music more than anyone ever.
If I had friends over, he'd come home and there wasn't music playing. He'd be like, Emily, why is there not music playing?
Emily, I'm going through all these family videos still, working on this daddy-daughter dance music video. Dad has not changed a bit. We are so little funny kids, and he has these Journey concerts, live Eagles concerts playing on TV,
oh my gosh,
blasting through the house, and we're little, just running around dancing.
Oh, that's
and
so
it's
cute.
he has loved music since the beginning of time. And even this past weekend, I went to a Luke Combs, Jordan Davis, Mitchell Tenpenny show in Houston with my parents. And my dad is a very stoic, he's the life of the party when they're out, but it's not in a
emotive way.
Yes, he's speaking, it's not so much of movement. He prefers, he's very tall, he's 6'5". He prefers to be on the outskirts of the room. He doesn't like to be in the center of anything. We were in the pit at this concert, and my dad is hands in the air, screaming every word to every song. And I was
much.
This is the best day of my life because I get to watch him having so much fun.
We love Steven.
Both of our parents are athletic and musical. The apple did not fall from the tree at all. We are just on the tree.
Not at all.
Okay, let me see. What's your question for the week? This is, oh my God, it's from Sydney. I love her so much. What rules or things from your parents were imperative to who you are now?
First of all, I love you, Sydney. Sydney was like one of my best friends all through high school and still today. And that is such a good question. The first thing that I think of is definitely, we always referred to mom and dad with yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. It was very Southern. But one thing that dad really, really emphasized and made clear that he explained to us was, we're never going to tell you no for no reason. Mm-hmm. And we are not going to ask for this respect from you and not reciprocate it. Mm-hmm. We are going to have a mutually respectful relationship. I'm going to treat you like an adult from day one. And I'm so grateful for that. And
it's so true.
And he knew from day one how big that was. And I bet it's so cool for him to see it paying off now, 20 years later, now that we're grown up. And it was so cool because it wasn't normal, for our parents to say yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am to us.
And you're right, because it was a very specific thing that they made intentional, and it was the yes, ma'am, yes, sir, the manners aspect. They said please and thank you to us as well. Mm-hmm. But they still were our parents. It wasn't like they treated us as equals in, all the different walks of life.
Right, yeah.
But it was so cool to hear them say that, to hear those words come out of their mouth of, we are your equal when it comes to respect. We will respect you, you respect us. And it was so informative to what you do to show respect to someone. And when someone isn't treating you respectfully, you can feel it and notice it.
Yeah.
And having that awareness can help you walk away from people who don't treat you with respect. If you just have to know, if you've never had someone treat you with respect because it's because I said so. Right. And it's a totally different level of intentionality on making you feel good or feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, it's like your voice is valued, your opinion is worth being heard, and helps your kids build that self-confidence from day one. They want to hear what I have to think. They want to hear what I have to contribute. And they might say, I love the reason why you think it's a good idea to have a sleepover on a school night. I think your ideas are valid, but here's why it's not going to work out. Here's why we actually need to stay home tonight and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're always willing to hear us out. And even just that, because we were able to hear their reasoning, it helped us not fight on it either. We're like, yeah, that makes sense. And also,
well, maybe you didn't fight on it. I was like, I'm having a sleepover tonight, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. This was so much fun. Thank y'all so much, Cole team, for listening. And we cannot wait to be back next week.
Thank y'all so much for listening to this episode of Hustle and Harmony.
Please leave us a 5-star review or comment, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on socials at Julia Cole Music and at Emily Cole.
We'll love you forever either way, and we can't wait to see y'all next week.